Everyone, welcome to Tuesday. And of course, every Tuesday we take a look at the performance of the NZSX 50 just to see what's happened over the past week. Now, just remember before I go across and share my screen that this is for educational purposes only, definitely not intended to be personalised financial advice. If you're looking for that, you do need to go and have a chat to your own financial advisor. Right, let's take a look. Okay, so I've got the NZSX 50 gross index up here on the screen, and I've got it over the 5-year period. So it means that each of these little candles are indicating a 1-week period. And you can see, unfortunately, last week we had a down week. So it looks like it could be forming a little bit of a line of support. Hopefully the market might kick off again. And why I say that is if I look down the bottom, look at the bar chart down here, you can see that for last week entirely, there was very, very little volume. In fact, when I look at my chart here, it says that volume was under 38 million. Whereas if I go back earlier, you can see around here, sort of around that 15th of September period, there was nearly $223 million worth of shares traded. So that's why, even though it was a down week, it could just be the market settling down. Let's go to the 1-year chart and just see what that says. And you can see here, when I look at Friday, whilst Friday had a good positive day, if I look at that candle, let's zoom in, you can see it's got quite a strong wick on it, which means that there was actually a little bit more selling pressure. What really did the damage last week was Tuesday, this candle here. This is what caused the whole market to fall, if you like, for the whole week. Because if you can see that Monday was positive, we had that gap down, which was a very negative sign. And even though Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were positive weeks, it's Tuesday that did a lot of damage. So what that means when you see that gap is that there was a lot of selling going on at the close. Market had closed on Monday and before the market had opened on Tuesday. There were obviously a lot of orders put into the market to sell, and that's what caused that gap. A very negative sign. But let's put our moving averages on and just see what they are telling us. So again, I use the 30 exponential. And if I look there, you can see that the New Zealand market is trading on a daily basis below that 30-day moving average. Okay, that is a negative sign. We'll just see what it says on the 5-year, which brings up weekly. It's okay on that weekly intervals, but on the daily intervals, market is currently trading below it. So that to me is quite cautionary. Let's also put on our 15-period moving average. And why I like to use both moving averages in conjunction with one another is by having a slower moving average and a faster paced one, it just gives a bit more of a snapshot as to what is happening in the market, because naturally the 15-week or 15-period moving average is, because it's moving quicker than the 30, it's going to be a little bit more responsive and give us a little bit more of an idea as to potentially what's happening. So the market currently is trading above both of those on a weekly basis, which is a good sign. Let's go back to that 1 year and see what it says on a daily basis. And this is where it gets a little bit more cautionary if I zoom in. The market is trading below both of those moving averages. And you can see here that that blue line being the 15-period moving average is almost touching that 30. Now, if it falls through that 30-period moving average, that is definitely very, very negative. For me, I do not want to be investing into a share or an index or anything like that if A, the shares are trading below those moving averages, and B, if that faster paced moving average crosses through the slower paced one, because that definitely is what we refer to in investing terms as a dead cross, and it could potentially mean more sinister things are going to happen in the market. Hey, I could be wrong. I'd like to think I'm wrong and the market will turn around and rally again. But this is just normal characteristics of a market, that it does ebb and flow, but you've just got to be cautionary when the market is trading below any of those moving averages. The same does apply if you're looking at individual shares as well. If the shares are trading below those moving averages, and especially if those moving averages have crossed to the downside, definitely a warning flag, because a share, unlike an index, can and does sometimes go to zero. I have experienced that myself in the early stages of share trading before I started implementing stop losses, and that's why I like to use those stop losses as well. So not a lot really more to report on the New Zealand market. It is just, like I say, cautionary. We do need to be aware of what's happening and just have our methodology in that in place before we look at entering into new positions. And that's what I certainly do. I have a checklist of what I'm looking for in the market and then boil that further down into my shares. So at the moment, this week is certainly a no-go for New Zealand shares as they stand at the moment. And to be fair, we're actually seeing that across the Australian market as well. It's just the US at the moment that does tend to be performing very, very strongly, which is great. But hey, I'll leave it there for this week. Just remember though that if there is a share you would like me to review for you, or if there is anything you'd like to learn regarding share trading, share investing, do reach out. I'm happy to help. I certainly come back to all of the comments that you write, and it helps me to be able to create, obviously, more content that's going to be of value for you. Now, speaking of share and review, on Thursday, we are going to look at the energy resource sector. It is a smart share listed on the New Zealand Stock Exchange, having exposure into the Australian resource sector. Quite an interesting share that I came across when I was doing my research over the weekend. So, hey, let me know. Happy to help. And until Thursday, take care.